This is the largest extinction event in the history of our planet. It wiped out 96% of marine species and 70% of vertebrate species on land. Life on Earth came close to total collapse. This is the story of how life bounced back and went on to dominate the Earth. Our story begins 252 million years ago. After the largest extinction in the history of our planet, life on Earth has come to a near standstill. Oceans stagnate under poisonous skies. The land is stripped bare, its forests reduced to ash. Creatures that once thrived vanish in staggering numbers, leaving behind only emptiness. This was the world of the Great Dying. It was the end of the Paleozoic era and the beginning of a new chapter in the history of our planet, the Mesozoic, or the Age of Reptiles. And it is here that a new story begins. A story of survival, innovation, dominance, and eventual downfall. It is the story of the dinosaurs. The story of the dinosaurs began in a world that was recovering from catastrophic changes. The continents were fused together in a supercontinent called Pangaea, which means all Earth in Greek. The name was fitting because at the time, it seemed as if nothing would change ever again. The climate was arid and the landscape was dominated by vast deserts. Mountains were leveled and entire ecosystems collapsed. The fossil record shows that life was sparse and struggling, but the stage was set for a remarkable recovery. Dinosaurs first appeared in the early Triassic period, which lasted from 252 to 201 million years ago. During this time, the world began to heal, but it was still a very different place than it had been before the extinction. By the middle of the Triassic, the continents began to break apart, and new ocean currents started to form. The climate became warmer and wetter. Plants returned to the landscape and animals began to flourish. Dinosaurs quickly diversified into numerous species. One of the first true dinosaurs to appear was Eoraptor. It was a small animal, no bigger than a domestic cat, measuring just 1 meter long. Despite its tiny size, it was already displaying the key features that would become characteristic of dinosaurs. It had a straight and tall posture with its legs positioned directly beneath its body. This allowed for efficient movement and was a key adaptation that helped dinosaurs to succeed. Eoraptor lived during the late Triassic around 200 million years ago. It was discovered in Argentina and is considered to be one of the most primitive dinosaurs ever found. But it's not alone. Around the same time and in the same region, another dinosaur was thriving. Herrerasaurus. This dinosaur was much larger than Eoraptor, reaching a length of 3 meters. It was also more specialized for hunting with sharp teeth and powerful claws. Herrerasaurus was one of the first known predatory dinosaurs, and it helped to establish the link between early dinosaurs and the larger predators that would come to dominate the Jurassic and Cretaceous periods. These early dinosaurs were small compared to the giants that would come after them, but they were perfectly suited to their environment. The Triassic was a time of ecological recovery, and small, adaptable creatures like Eoraptor and Herrerasaurus were well positioned to take advantage of the available resources. As the world continued to heal and flourish, dinosaurs thrived. By the end of the Triassic, around 201 million years ago, the Earth was changing rapidly. The supercontinent Pangaea was splitting apart and new ocean currents were altering weather patterns. The climate was warming and the Earth was entering a new era, the Jurassic. This marked the beginning of a golden age for dinosaurs. They were ready to take over the world. Throughout the Jurassic, dinosaurs continued to diversify and grow in size. Some dinosaurs became truly gigantic. One of the most famous of these was Brachiosaurus, which lived in the late Jurassic around 150 million years ago. It was a sauropod, a type of dinosaur that specialized in eating plants and was characterized by its extremely long neck. The name Brachiosaurus means arm lizard in Greek, and indeed, its forelimbs were much longer than its hind limbs. This gave the animal an extremely long neck that could reach up to 12 meters in length. Brachiosaurus was not just a browser of plants, it was a true giant. It could grow up to 20 meters long and weigh over 40 tons. It was one of the largest animals to ever live, but it wasn't the only giant. There were many other sauropods during the Jurassic, such as Diplodocus, Stegosaurus, and Amphictyons. Each of these animals was truly enormous and they dominated the landscape during the Jurassic, but the giants weren't the only ones. Thriving during the same time, the theropods, a group that included many of the most famous carnivorous dinosaurs, such as Allosaurus, Ceratosaurus, and maybe even the first Spinosaurus. These dinosaurs were also highly successful and they grew to impressive sizes as well. Allosaurus, for example, could grow up to 12 meters long and 4 meters tall. It was one of the top predators during the Jurassic, and it ruled the landscape with few rivals. Ceratosaurus was slightly smaller, but it was equally fearsome. It was named for its horns, which grew out of its nose and upper jaw. These horns made it a formidable opponent, and it was likely capable of using them for defense as well as offense. Then there was Spinosaurus, a huge carnivore that lived in what is now North Africa. At up to 15 meters long, it was even larger than the T-Rex, and it was thought to be semi-aquatic, spending time in the water hunting fish. The Jurassic was a time of giants, and it was also a time of great diversity. There were many other types of dinosaurs during this period, including the ornithischians, a diverse group that included the ancestors of both the Stegosaurus and the Triceratops. These dinosaurs were mostly herbivores, and they evolved a wide range of adaptations to help them survive. Some, like Stegosaurus, grew bony plates along their backs, while others developed powerful horns and frills around their heads. The Jurassic lasted for 56 million years, and it ended with another mass extinction. This was the end of an era and the beginning of a new one, the Cretaceous. As the Cretaceous period began, the Earth was changing again. The continents were drifting into their current positions, and new ocean currents were altering the climate. The climate was becoming warmer and wetter, and new plants were evolving, including the first flowering plants. This would have a profound impact on the dinosaurs because it introduced a new food source that would help them to thrive even more. Dinosaurs continued to diversify and grow in size during the Cretaceous. Some of the most famous dinosaurs ever evolved during this period, including the mighty Tyrannosaurus rex. The T-Rex was a true monster. It could grow up to 15 meters long and weigh up to 7 tons. It had a huge skull with terrifying teeth that could grow up to 35 centimeters long. The T-Rex was the ultimate predator, and it roamed the Earth for 3 million years, but it wasn't the only predator. The Cretaceous was home to many other carnivorous dinosaurs, including Velociraptor, which famously hunted in packs and had deadly sharp talons on their feet. The age of dinosaurs was coming to an end, but they were still thriving. The Cretaceous was also the age of giants. Sauropods reached their maximum size, with animals like Argentinosaurus growing up to 30 meters long and weighing up to 100 tons. This was the largest animal that ever lived. But the giants weren't just limited to sauropods. The ornithischians also included some massive animals, such as Allosaurus, which grew bony armor around its body and a mace-like tail for defense. Triceratops, with its 3 horns and large frills, was also a formidable opponent. The Cretaceous was a time of great diversity, and the dinosaurs were at the peak of their evolution, but it wouldn't last. 66 million years ago, an asteroid struck the Earth. The impact was devastating, and it triggered a chain of events that led to the end of the dinosaurs. In the blink of an eye, the asteroid wiped out 75% of all species on Earth, including all non-avian dinosaurs. The asteroid also marked the end of an era and the beginning of a new one. Today, when we look at the birds around us, we see the legacy of the dinosaurs. Birds are the direct descendants of theropod dinosaurs, and they inherited many of their traits, such as feathers, hollow bones, and keen senses. Birds are essentially feathered dinosaurs, and they are the only dinosaurs that survived the asteroid impact. The age of dinosaurs lasted for over 165 million years. It was an incredible journey from small, insignificant creatures to the rulers of the Earth. Their reign ended in fire and disaster, but their story continues to this day.